Welcome to Grace Pathway Abroad. Today we are going to have a look at the General IELTS Writing Task 1, which is the letter writing. Let's begin. Okay, let's have a look at what all are we going to learn today. We are going to learn how many types of letters are there. We will learn the structure of all these letters. We will learn what tone are we going to use for each type of letter, what language are we going to use for each type of letter. We will have some tips, and of course we will be having a look at some sample letters. But before we begin, I would like to point out a few very important things. Now for your complete writing module, you get 60 minutes, 1 hour. Right? Out of this 1 hour, you should spend only 20 minutes for your writing task 1, okay, your letter. The rest of the 40 minutes would go towards your essay writing. And please practice with time restrictions, right? Let's move ahead. Let's have a look at the types of letters. We've got a formal letter, a semi-formal letter, and an informal letter. Now, what is the difference between these different types of letters? So a formal letter is usually written to a person of seniority. This person holds a senior position, okay, at wherever you're writing. So whatever department or whatever office or workplace you're writing the letter to, this person holds a very senior position over there, and he is an unknown person. This person is unknown to you. Okay, there are these two things that you would be writing. Okay, for a semi-formal letter, in this case, again the person is a senior. Okay, let me rub that out. That's not a very neat writing, I'm sorry. Okay, S-E-N-I-O-R. Okay, that seems to be better. Okay, again the person is a senior person, but this time you know this person. He's a known person, okay? And an informal letter is written to friends and family. Okay, so these are the three basic differences. How are you going to, friends and family, informal letter is very easy to identify. The difference between a formal letter and a semi-formal letter is something that you will have to really try to figure out, right? It's not difficult, but yes, you will have to pay attention. Practice will help you do that. Okay, let's move ahead. Okay, let's have a look at the various types of letters that we can encounter. The first one is a semi-formal letter, and what is the tone that we would be using? Okay, here we are going to talk about the tones, okay, the tone and the language that we can use for each type of letter. So the tone over here would be, the tone in this one, you need to be very, very polite. Remember, this person is a senior person and he's also unknown to you, okay? Simply saying unknown means what? You don't know him. You're writing for the very first time. You're interacting for the very first time with this person. Okay. So, and the language is going to be professional, absolutely formal language. Then what is going to be a very important thing over here is that you will avoid using contractions. What are contractions? Words like saying, I can't do this. No, you will not say, I can't do this. I cannot do this. I do not want to go to the market. So you're going to write complete words. These contractions which end with an apostrophe something, this is not allowed. It's a big taboo in your formal letters, right? Then comes your semi-formal letters. Semi-formal letters, as I said earlier, we know the person. However, still the person is a senior official. And the language again needs to be polite, but it can be a little more personal, okay? and some contractions are allowed. Right? However, I would recommend don't use contractions. Just let it be nice and simple. Otherwise, you'll just keep getting confused between, oh, where do I write? Formal or semi-formal? These are confusions that I have seen coming up. So let's avoid them. Use formal tone and formal language for both formal as well as semi-formal letters. Right? Let's move on to the informal letter. Okay. The informal letter is written to, it has a very friendly and casual tone, an informal kind of tone, an informal kind of language. You can use contractions. In fact, using contractions in this letter is going to get you some good extra points over here. And the language will be very, very informal. Of course, you're speaking to a friend, you're writing to a friend. You're not going to be very formal with that, right? Let's move ahead. Okay, we look at the structure of how to write the letter. Now, here we begin with the opening, and the opening, we open it with an appropriate greeting. What do you mean by the appropriate greeting? It simply means whatever kind of letter it is, your opening would be according to that. Like, for example, it would be Dear Sir / Madam for a formal letter. Okay, so you're writing to a person who is senior and you don't even know him, so you're going to write Dear Sir or Madam. It could be anybody, right? Okay, and then for an informal letter, it is going to be Dear and the first name. Like, for example, it could be Dear Anna, right? So that is your opening, or it is also known as the salutation. After that, you move on to the introduction. What do you do in this? You state the purpose of your letter. You tell the person that this is the reason why I am calling you. Why am I writing to you? Okay, so you state the purpose of the letter. And then we write the body of the letter. The body would contain 2 to 3 paragraphs. Okay, there would be certain bullet points and you need to address all the bullet points, whatever the bullet points are given in the prompt. And then we write the closing sentence. There's going to be a closing, like for example, you would say, I hope to hear from you soon. Okay, hope to see you soon, something like that. That's going to be, it's like a conclusion. You're just giving an information that, okay, I'm done with whatever I had to write and now I'm concluding my letter. Okay, and then you would have an appropriate sign off. What is an appropriate sign off? Again, according to the type of the letter, you would write yours faithfully for a formal letter, yours sincerely for a semi-formal letter, and yours lovingly for an informal letter. Very simple. Okay. Let's have a look at some sample letters. Here is a formal letter. Now here it is written, the heading says it's a formal letter, but in your exam, you will not get that. Okay, so you'll have to figure it out. How do you figure out? We'll have a look at that. First, let us read the question prompt. So this is what your question prompt would look like. Okay, so there would be a topic. Let's read this one. You have been looking for a job and have seen an advertisement for a part-time position. Write a letter to the employer. In your letter, explain why you need the job, describe your skills and qualifications, say what days you are available. Right? So this is what your prompt would look like. So what do we need to do with this? Of course, you need to understand this. Now here is where you will come to know what type of letter it is. Right? So over here, it says this will always be there. Write a letter to the employer. I have to write the letter to the employer. Now this employer has given an advertisement in a newspaper. Do I know him? Of course not. I'm just replying back to an ad in the newspaper. So this is a formal letter because I don't know the person. This is how you will be able to identify what kind of a letter is this. right? And then here comes those 3 bullet points that I was talking about. You need to cover each one of them. In fact, these bullet points are really very good because they help you to start building up your letter, right? You can use them as your stepping stones. They make sure that your letter is, going in the right direction, right? Okay, so what are the bullet points here? You have to explain why you need the job. You need to describe your skills and qualifications, and then you have to tell when are you going to be available. Okay, so here's the letter. We begin with the opening or the salutation. We start with dear sir / madam, and then here is your first point, your reason. Give a reason as to why are you writing. So here we say, this is in reference to your advertisement in the Times of India dated ... Always put the date if you're referring to an advertisement. Okay, I'll start this over. This is in reference to your advertisement in the Times of India dated ... for part-time vacancy for the role of an accountant. Right? So very clearly, I have mentioned here that this is why I'm writing. Okay, I would like to apply for this position as my qualification as well as experience fit the job description. So my first pointer is done. No, my introduction is done. My reason, why am I writing this? Now I come to my first point and I need to explain, why do you need this job? So here I'm writing here, I'm studying chartered accountancy at St. Stephen's College at Chennai. That's an imaginary name, by the way. I don't even know whether there's a St. Stephen's in Chennai. Okay, so my college timings are from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Since I don't like to burden my family for pocket money, I would like to take up a part-time job to earn the same. Right? So here I have explained my reason as to why do I want to take up this job. Next, what do? We have completed the reason. We've already done that. We have covered the first point. Now we need to have a look at the second point. Okay, so here it is. Now, the second point says, describe your skills and qualifications. Even though your CV would be accompanying this letter, we still need to write this, right? So, and this is actually a very effective cover note, I would say, right? Okay, so being in my final year at college has given me the required knowledge to handle the accounts of a company like yours. Also, I helped a small firm during my last vacation. Hence, I completely understand what needs to be done. Right? How clearly in such simple language this person has been covering these points. Right? So here we complete with the second point and then we begin with the third one, which is say what days you are available. Now remember, this is a part-time job that I'm applying for. Okay, so I need to tell them what are the timings that I would be available. So here he says, since my college ends at 3 p.m., I can be available anytime between 4 to 8 p.m. However, I would like to take the weekends off to take care of some home chores. And here is the closure, the conclusion, the closure, wherein it's just one sentence, but yes, it's an extremely important one. So I hope to hear from you soon. Yours faithfully, and then you would write your complete name. Your complete name is your first name and your last name. If you have a lengthier name, it's okay. You don't really need to write a huge name. Your first name and one last name is sufficient. Right? Let's move to the next letter type. Now here is a semi-formal letter. Let's have a look at the prompt. You were absent from an important event held by the company you work for. Write a letter to your manager. Who are you writing to? You need to write a letter to your manager. Do you know the manager? Yes, of course. right? So what kind of a letter is this? This is a semi-formal letter. Again, now it's given as a header over here, but in your exam it will not be given. And this particular point is the point which will help you to identify what kind of a letter this is, right? Okay, now here are the 3 bullet points which tell us apologize for your absence and explain the reasoning. Explain why you had to be at the other event, and explain what you will do to catch up, right? Before all of this, you are going to give your reason, right? The first thing, you begin with the reason as to why are you writing, right? So let's go here and have a look at this. Now the salutation starts with Dear Mr. Sharma. The semi-formal letter, we know the person, right? Hence, we know the name as well. So we are going to use not the first name, but the second name, the last name. So dear Mr. or Miss, you will use this title as well. Don't forget to write the title. So it's going to be Mr. or Miss if it's a lady. So dear Mr. last name Sharma. And then you carry on with your reason. You're writing the reason. Okay, so I'm writing this in regards to my absence from the annual company meeting held last week. This is the reason why I'm writing. Okay, point number 1 says apologize for your absence and explain the reason. Here I say, firstly, please accept my apologies for not making myself available for such an important event. I'll read over. I do understand that it is crucial for employees to be present, but it was my daughter's wedding that day. So he says, apologize for your absence and explain the reason. So he's apologized and he's given a very valid reason for it. Okay, the next pointer would be explain why you had to be at the other event. Okay, so here is my second point. Being a parent, it was important for me to be present at the religious ceremonies to solemnize the wedding. The event would not have been possible in my absence. So, second pointer done. So we have completed the first pointer, the second pointer. Let's move to the last one. So, what is the last one? Explain what you will do to catch up. So over here he says, to make up for my absence at the office event, I promised to take care of all the essential things required for the post-meet documentation. I have already started working on it. So he says, I was not able to attend whatever blah 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 blah, but this is what I would be taking care of, right? And then finally the closure, which clearly conveys that I'm done with my letter writing, whatever I had to convey, and I'm now closing. He says, hope you will understand. Now this closure is going to be dependent on what is your type of letter, right? And then you sign it off. Your sign off is going to be yours sincerely, and again your complete name, which means your first name and your last name, right? Let's move to the next one, the third one. An informal letter. So this is what? A letter written to friends and family. What does it say? You have recently moved to a different city for work, but you want to maintain contact with a friend from your previous workplace. Write a letter to your friend. Now the prompt itself clearly mentions what it is like, right? What are the important things that you are recently moving to or you have moved already to a different city, but you want to maintain contact with a friend of yours. Now what are the pointers that you're going to write here? Describe the city you moved to. So you've got to describe the city. Tell him or her about your new job and invite him to visit you, right? So here is now our letter. How do we begin this? We begin it with Dear John. This person is my friend, and of course I'm on first name terms with this person. So I say, Dear John. And then this is going to be slightly more informal, right? The opening, the reason. right? So you say, I hope this letter finds you well. It has been a while since we last caught up. Now there is something that has gone wrong with the formatting. This has to continue over here, right? So I think something might have gone wrong with the formatting. Okay, so please excuse me for that, and let's read on. So this says, I hope this letter finds you well. It has been a while since we last caught up, and I wanted to share some updates about my move and invite you to visit me. So see how very clearly, smartly he has conveyed why is he writing. He's writing because he wants to inform the person that he has moved to another city, and he also wants to invite him to that place. And then this is the part which is really very important, the informal part. Okay, so always start that with a little bit of an informal kind of chat. You can say, hope this letter finds you in good health, and I hope you're doing fine. Okay, things like that. Okay, then we move on to the point number 1. Describe the city you moved to. So here you say, I've relocated to Delhi and it's truly a vibrant place. The city is bustling with energy and there's always something happening. The architecture here is stunning with a mix of modern buildings and historical landmarks. There are numerous parks where you can relax, and the food scene is amazing, offering a variety of cuisines to explore. Notice this thing over here, the contraction used. And these are the kind of contractions when used for your informal letter, they would give you some extra brownie points. Okay, let's come back over here now. So we are done with the reasoning, giving the reason and the first point. Now we move on to the second point, and it says, tell him or her about your new job. So here, about his new job, this is what he writes. He says, my new job at Grace Pathway Abroad has been quite exciting. I'm working as a center head and the role is both challenging and rewarding. The team here is supportive and I've been learning a lot. It's a step up from my previous position and I feel like I'm growing professionally every day. How nicely it has been written, right? And then that completes our second point, and then the third point wherein I want to invite this person. Okay, so here I say, I would love for you to visit me here. It would be great to catch up and show you around the city. Let me know when you're free and we can plan something fun. Now again, here, let me know when you're free. What other contractions are there? Okay, here, I'm working. I've been learning a lot. It's a step up from my previous organization. I'm growing. How many contractions we have been able to use, right? And all these are going to give me some extra points. How nice, right? Okay, so let's move on to the last part, the closure. Looking forward to hearing from you soon. You can also say, I look forward to seeing you soon, because you've invited the person to come over, remember? So you can say, I look forward to meeting you soon or seeing you soon. Okay, and then your closure is going to be yours lovingly and your first name, right? Your very first name, whatever it is, no second name. Okay, so that's about it for today. We look at some more letter writing soon. Okay, and if you need to get in touch with us, please call us at these numbers. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.